Transitions in film have changed over time, much like film itself has. As technology has evolved, so has the propensity of editors to include more innovative types of transitions, which stem out from the classic transitions. For the purpose of this video essay, the classical transitions are the cut, the dissolve, the smash cut, and the wipe. One of the simplest and most often used transitions is the simple cut. Here, we cut from an exterior view of the train to the interior of the train. Then, while the boys converse, a shot-reverse shot is employed, whilst only one of the boys is occupying the frame at a time. Next, in this clip from Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, the movement of the pantry doors ushers in a long dissolve that moves the viewer from the first scene to the following scene.
With a million majority already against him.
As for this opening in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, a smash cut is used right in the beginning to cut from the credits straight into the opening scene. Another technique is that of the wipe, which is used many times throughout the Star Wars movies to create the idea of an old, antiquated look that comes from using this traditional transition that was often used in serials. An additional somewhat antiquated transition is that of the iris. Here, in Hugo, it is employed very interestingly, as the clip is featuring a real historical film within the film itself. This usage is nostalgic of the beginning of the film industry and the end of the 19th century. In this clip from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, many different transitional conventions are used. First, we see the employment of regular cuts as the beginning of the sibling standoff begins. As soon as we see Ferris run out of the way, we begin an action-filled, cross-cutting sequence between his run to the house and his sister's frantic chase. The cross-cutting that goes back and forth between the two sequences serves to heighten the intensity of all that is occurring simultaneously. In both sequences, others are involved, such as the policeman that begins to pursue Jeannie and the neighbors that Ferris runs past. At the end, a third plotline intersects the former two, as the father is shown returning home as well. Moreover, another sort of innovative transition is used in this clip from Sing Street. In the debut of the clip, it is the middle of the night, and the only two boys in the house are the ones initially on screen. However, in this transition, the camera moves, without cutting, by panning into a neighboring room in the house. Here, the instruments and musical accompaniments of their other friends join into the soundtrack, as their other friends also appear on screen. Through the window, and due to the shadows cast, the viewer can see that it is now daytime, and the transition has occurred completely seamlessly. As the pan continues, the boys from the beginning of the clip in the other room are shown playing with the rest of the band. Aside from live-action film transitions, there is also a lot of room for creativity in animated films. In fact, because the transitions don't have to be realistically or physically possible, as in the real world, animated films may have even more room for very creative transitions to occur. Here, in this clip from Tarzan submerges underwater as a boy, but is then flung up into the air, spins around, and transforms directly into a man. This is another example of a seamless transition that occurs without any sort of cut, but that shows the passage of time all the same. Furthermore, another creative transition is when there's a graphic match, such as in these clips from Shrek. The fire in the fireplace, in a sense, spawns the fire for the torches, and then the fire serves as the matched graphic for a transition to another fireplace in a different location than the initial one. Similarly, in this scene there is a graphic match, but instead of the graphic match arising from the main focal point of the shot, being the iceberg, it arises from the sunlight that is illuminating the scene from behind the iceberg. Here are several more examples of innovative uses of graphic matches. In the following clip, an example of multi-scene is used. The scene begins as a full-sized realistic scene of the boaters in the ocean. Shortly thereafter, the viewer watches as the ocean transforms into a puddle, and the realistic part of the story becomes the man who steps in the puddle. Lastly, this clip was included as an example akin to that of the one used in Sing Street, in which it shows a transition of place and time seamlessly. Due to the film's animation, the creation of this transition was much different than the former example and can occur on screen much more rapidly. In all, throughout film history, there have been hundreds of innovative transitions completed, and this particular video only served to provide examples of some of my favorites. However, you should keep these many different types of transitions in mind the next time you watch a film, and take note of how essential they are to the way you, as a viewer, perceive the film.